Hey guys, in this video I wanted to share with you 5 keyboard shortcuts that I use for Visual Studio Code or VS Code. I think those shortcuts make coding much easier, much faster, much productive. So I said why not? I'm gonna share those keyboard shortcuts with you. And guys, if there are any other keyboard shortcuts that you use and I have not covered in this video and you think it really makes work much productive, please just write at the comment below. And let's begin. I have here a file called index.js. The first shortcut that I want to share with you is the Ctrl D. This is in Windows, so you can simply search for the same shortcut in the Mac, on Mac. So let's say we have here a variable called students, and let's initialize it to 10. And here we said, let's say student, or let's say student score equals to 10. Then we're doing here student plus plus, student score plus plus. Then here we have an if statement. Let's say equals is greater than, let's say 10. And do some stuff here, console.log student score. Okay, let's have you have this piece of code. Then suddenly you thought, well, I want to change this variable name. Let's put it teacher score, or not teacher, maybe all students score, something like that. So the naive way is just writing here all students score, then copy pasting and overwriting one by one. Or you can do a faster way, could be copying, let's say writing all student score and opening the search and just replacing with the student score should be all student score and replace all. The one that I use, it's called Ctrl D. I use this shortcut to replace all the variables. So what does this do? Ctrl D just selects the next variables that you have selected. For example, the way it works, you select on the variable name and you press Ctrl D. If you notice, it selected the second one, you press Ctrl D one more time and you press again, and you see the 4 selections are active. So what can you do? Just when you replace the text, let's call it all student score, it will be replaced in all of them. And I think this way is much faster than just doing Ctrl V or just pasting one on one, or just opening the search and replacing. I mean, if you have hundreds of 50 of these variables, yeah, this makes sense. But if you have only 3 or 4, I think using the Ctrl D is much faster, much productive. So it's you select the first one, you just click Ctrl D 3 times and just replace it. So the second keyboard shortcut that I use a lot is Shift, Alt and F. What does it do? It simply prettifies your code. I use this shortcut each 5 seconds or each 10 seconds. So what does prettifying mean? So basically when, let's say here we don't have a space, here we don't have a space, this console is badly indented, and let's say I'm writing something here, if all students score greater than 15, I opened braces again. So you see there's inconsistency with the code structure itself. Again, the naive way could be let me add a space here, let me add a space here, or just removing empty spaces, indenting manually. So what does Shift Alt and F do? Just it does for you everything. So let's say we had this structure. So Shift Alt F, everything has been prettified. So if I had here spaces, like here where the spaces here also, let's remove the spaces here. You just have to press Shift Alt and F. Now, the third shortcut that I use a lot is the Ctrl P. So let's say you have a project which has like not thousands, let's say hundreds of folders and thousands of files, and when you want to search for a file or navigate to a file, you need to click on the folder. Let's say it had some subfolders. Searching becomes messy. So what can you do? So let's say you're working in this file and you want to navigate to the items. But let's say this is a simple example, but just for the sake of the shortcut. So the way you can do it's you need to press Ctrl P. It will open all the recently opened files for you. So let's say I'm working here, I just press Ctrl P items and I just navigate here. Let's say I'm working something here and I forgot to add something in another file. I just press Ctrl P customers and enter. I use this option also like millions of times. It's very intelligent. It knows what files you have opened recently. It makes work much faster. The fourth keyboard shortcut that I want to talk about is copying a line. So let's say I have a function here. Let's call it do something. And let's say here we had some variables. Let's say var I am something equals to do something. Let's say we want to copy this line and just change the variable name. So the naive way could be copying a line, clicking enter, and let's say I am something new and do something. The way I do, you just have to put the cursor at the end of the line and press Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So this is like a shortcut that I use a lot. Or another example could be, let's say we're initializing variables. Let's say name, we put it here 0. So let's say we have other variables called score or age. You don't have to select the whole line and copy the whole line. You can simply press Ctrl C at the end of the line. It will copy the whole line. So you just press Ctrl C and Ctrl V, Ctrl V, Ctrl V. And for the final one, it's again related to selections. So let's say here I have a student, which is an object which has, let's say, a name, also let's say age, also it can have score, and here let's say we're doing some operations, student dot name equal to something, and here we're doing student dot age equal to something again, and student dot score equal to 100. So let's say you written the S letter in capital. So you wanna, let's add more just for the sake of the example. You wanna replace this capital S with small s. because you have an error here. Yeah, one way could be, again, like Ctrl D, as I showed in the first example. The way I do, I press on the mouse scroll button or the mouse scroll wheel button on the, let's say, on the first index, or you can even press it here. I'll show you how. You press on the mouse scroll button and you go down, and you will see I have multiple selections. You can do the same here. You can press it, you can go down, just select everything and press S. I think this is a cool feature. You can use this, let's say, in the middle of the word or on the end of the word. Let's say I just rename this to students. I just put the mouse cursor here, scroll down, and just add the letter S. And this is for my last keyboard shortcut. If you have any shortcuts that you use a lot, please just write down at the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video.